Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So tonight we're going to talk about the load carriers. Those people in history who literally or figuratively carried the load and brought history to its conclusion, gave us the stories we know. Those people, more often than not, are common people, and they're not recognized. Not at the time, unless it benefits the powers that be. And normally not later. Instead, we recognize leaders, big names. Harry Truman, Ronald Reagan, George Bush, Gerald Ford, John F. Kennedy. All these people have something in common. And it's not that they were presidents. We can add another name to this list now. Doris Miller. A guy named Doris Miller. He gets to join those names in something that was pretty shocking to pretty much everybody. So, a little bit about Dory, which is what he went by, what his friends knew him as. On December 7th, a date which will live in infamy, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. He was a cook. He just got finished serving breakfast. And it all broke loose. So he went to the area of the ship that is, it's where all the corridors meet up, commonly referred to as Times Square, and let it be known that he was available for duty. He was asked to carry the captain, who'd been wounded. When he was done with that, asked him to carry ammunition up to the anti-aircraft guns. When he gets up there, there's somebody who knows what they're doing, and he's explaining to Dory how to load it, just wanting this cook, who knows nothing, to load the weapon for him so he can continue fighting. Apparently, he tells him how to do it and turns away, and when he turns back, Dory has a nearby anti-aircraft gun up and running, engaging the enemy. When he runs out of ammo, he decides, he's already been a cook that day in anti-aircraft. He's going to be a nurse now. Goes down and starts moving wounded, pulling them out of rooms that are filling with water, oil, carrying them through smoke-filled rooms as metal just falls down around him. Saves lives, undoubtedly. The ship went down. He survived. And he was recognized at the time. He was transferred to the Indianapolis. But he was pulled from that to go on a war bond tour. Recognized, but serving those in power. He went around recruiting. Now, he serves out a few years on the Indianapolis, and then he gets transferred to another ship, and I can't remember the name of it, but it goes down. Japanese torpedo got it. He did not survive. His parents got word of his death 2 years later, on December 7th, 1943. 2 years to the day of Pearl Harbor. So, he is now part of that list. Because that list is people who've had aircraft carriers named after them. It's a huge deal. Huge deal. Generally, aircraft carriers are named after presidents or federal lawmakers who were in office just an immeasurable amount of time. The last time it wasn't a president was John C. Stennis, who sat on the Appropriations Committee, determined how much money the Navy got. That might have had something to do with him getting his name on a boat. But the funny part about this is that Stennis was a huge segregationist. They put his name on a carrier. Doris Miller's black. I like that. It shows that even in institutions as reluctant to change as the Navy, things are changing. Now, to those outside the military community who may not understand, set aside the fact that he's black for a second. Naming an aircraft carrier after an enlisted person, that's a huge deal in and of itself. It just doesn't happen. addressing the race issue, this is the first time a black person has ever had a carrier named after him. It's a big deal. This is a big deal on a whole bunch of different levels. And understand that when the Navy deploys, they deploy typically in things called carrier groups. So there will be other ships assigned to the Doris Miller. It's huge. This is a huge deal. And I just think it's worth noting that even with everything going on, there are still signs of progress, signs of hope. This is something that even 25 years ago they were naming a carrier after a segregationist. And today, they're naming one after an enlisted black guy. It's a cool development. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good night.